Hey everybody, welcome to week 4. This week we are taking a look at different types of advertising. These are the things you got to know for week 4. Target CPM calculates the cost per thousands based on the target audience versus the overall audience. The importance there is that we're focusing in on our core clientele and making sure that our advertising hits that core clientele. As a promotional representative, you may be tasked to approve the final artwork or the layout, which includes the illustrations of what that final page is going to be in terms of a magazine page or a website page or a social media advertisement, and give the final sign off that that's essentially what you want and it looks the way you want it to. Oftentimes a storyboard or a sequence of frames is used to dictate what's going to happen in a particular advertisement. This is common in say like a TV or a video type commercial, where they're going to storyboard out the different things that are going to happen in the different shots. And that allows the manufacturer to work with the ad agency to make sure that they're on message and that they're going to hit their end consumer before spending the money and the time to actually go out and shoot it and get the wrong product. So storyboards essentially outline what's the final ad going to be. Oftentimes, manufacturers will create a negotiated commission scale, which basically says as you start to sell more of my product, the commission that ad agency earns may go up or down. And this is usually going to go down as it scales up, so that if something really blows up, the ad buy for that particular product is going to probably need to go down just because there's no need to keep promoting a product that's already selling well. And if it's not scalable, the company may not be able to afford if it keeps ramping up. It's important to note that PR or public relations managers are in charge of the public image and communication with the public. And what this means is that essentially they're tasked with creating messaging and communication with the end public consumer and also the community at large. These representatives will typically try to position the brand as best they can and react to any kind of issues or complaints that the brand may have due to a manufacturer's defect or a warranty issue or something along those lines, if it becomes sort of a community-wide type issue. So as we start to think about promoting our product through advertising, there's going to be what's called collateral. And the collateral is all the different parts of the ad or the components of the advertising campaign, which could be the print, the photos, if there's going to be product photos, it could be different marketing materials. It can also be things like storyboards, but all that's going to go in there and create the final design. Also to note, packaging for a particular product. So if it's going to be hung on a rack in a store, what does that packaging look like? How is it made? Is it made sustainably? Is that important to the product? Those kinds of things. It's always important to conduct market research, which is essentially gathering information about our end consumer prior to launching a advertising campaign. So oftentimes brands will work with agencies to do focus groups or surveys or one-on-one conversations to make sure that what type of messaging that they're trying to create is going to actually work with the end consumer, and does it actually hit the marks that they're trying to achieve their goals. So thinking about consumer behavior, we want to monitor how a consumer works with the product. So how do they select it? How do they use it? How often do they repurchase that or repeat buy? What types of offshoot uses do they come up with? This is all part of consumer behavior. When we talk about problem recognition, we're essentially talking about when does the consumer realize that they have a problem with a current product, or when do they have a need, right? So that's not being fulfilled by another product. That would be problem recognition. If a current product is not doing what you need it to, or there's maybe new technology out there that does something better, you realize that you have a problem, and that's where you start to take steps in addressing that and finding a product that's going to fulfill or satisfy your needs. Looking at each individual end consumer, there's a process they go through, like an individual process that basically says what is the perception of that person's belief about a particular brand. So my perception of a brand may differ from your perception of a brand based on our backgrounds, our personalities, our lifestyles. But that's an important part of advertising because we want to make sure that our end message to that end consumer matches what they're looking for, and that's derived through looking at all these different individuals and looking at how do they respond to our brand and what are their perceptions of our brand.